Welcome back, Hawkeye and college football fans, to the Touchdown Black and Gold Vlog, the channel where we examine, discuss, celebrate, and honor all things college football across the entire college football landscape. The channel created by the college football fan for the college football fan. I'm your usual host, Blair Parks. Thanks for being back with me once again. It is game week. And what I've got on tap for you is my week 1 picks and predictions episode coming right at you here real soon. So definitely stay tuned, stand by. I'll give you a little bit of insight to this upcoming's weekend's big games and some off the radar games that you definitely want to be made aware of and have good talking points for all of your fellow college football fans, family, friends, so on and so forth. Anyway, before I say anything more, thank you for your continued support, your time, your attention for the channel. Everything is trending in the right direction. Unlike the markets right now here, unfortunately, everything is up. Likes, rates, shares, comments, subscriptions, everything is going in the right direction. But I need your help. I'm putting out an APB to find more college football fans just like you. So please, spread the word, like, share, rate, subscribe. And like always, if this is your first time joining me here on the Touchdown Black and Gold Vlog, I always encourage, welcome, and appreciate your comments. So go ahead, light up the comments section below in response to anything during the episode, or just if you just want to chit chat and comment about college football in general, guess what? I am a man for the people, by the people, and I promise I will respond to each and every one of you much sooner than later individually. All right, so what I've got today for you, I've got my picks and predictions episode for week 1 broken down into 3 parts. The first section, I'm going to go ahead and share with you some of my ultimate underdogs here in week 1, teams that may or may not pull big-time upsets. But the thing about that section is I will include one of those games within my pick section, and I will be choosing one of my ultimate underdogs to pull exactly that, a legitimate upset of a highly favored team here in week 1. So stick by for that. The second section will be my trap games for week 2. Teams that primarily should cruise in their matchups here in week 1, but they might be looking ahead just slightly to their big-time matchups in week 2. So I'm going to put a few teams on trap notice, so definitely want to hang out for that. And then that'll move into everybody's favorite section, my official picks and predictions episode, where I have randomly chose 13, that's right, my lucky number, a baker's dozen, 13 games that I will dissect, share with you the matchup, and give you who I believe will come out on top and why. So without further delay, let's go ahead and get into it. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, and thank you for all you do. It's been an absolute pleasure, as it has been the previous seasons, to be here with you on the weekly, sharing my love for all things college football. So let's go ahead and get into it. It's game week. Hallelujah. I'm so happy, just like you are. I know it. But let's go ahead and move into my first section, my ultimate underdogs. Let's see.
There's no need to fear. Underdog is here.
That is right. Let it play. Underdog, one of my favorite Hanna-Barbera cartoons back in the day. That's right. Underdog gets it done. That's right. Let it play. All right. So let's go ahead and I'll share with you some of my ultimate underdogs for week 1. Hanna-Barbera, what a huge, huge part of my childhood that was. Here I am, 43 years old. I'm so fond of all of those cartoons. Maybe let me know in the comments section, what was your favorite Hanna-Barbera? Was it the Wonder Twins and Gleek? Was it Grape Ape? I was always very fond of Captain Caveman and Son. That was probably my favorite. I know a lot of you watching have probably never even heard of any of those cartoons, and probably have no idea who Hanna-Barbera even is. So look into it. All right. So this week I've got 4 ultimate underdogs for you, and I'm going to go in order as far as what they are, what their point spread is from smallest to largest. So let's go ahead and start off with my small dog this week, or maybe my corgi. Miami of Ohio, the Redhawks, they travel to Northwestern of the Big Ten, a game which will be played on their soccer field, I believe, up there in Evanston. The Redhawks find themselves a 2.5-point underdog on the road at a Power 4 opponent. Yep, that still sounds very strange to say and probably strange to hear. Gone is the Power 5, now it's the Power 4 with the Pac-12 conference going the way of the dodo. But I like this Miami of Ohio team. I definitely think they could pull the upset. They do have a Gabbert at quarterback. Here in Missouri, where I currently am a resident, we know all about the Gabberts down here, going back to the Gabbert at Mizzou. So I think this team could really spoil Northwestern's opening game. They are picked by many experts to win the MAC title. So let's see what the Redhawks can do. Next, my medium dog of week 1, or maybe let's call them my blue healer. West Virginia hosts number 8 Penn State. They are an 8-point underdog at home. Here comes mighty top 10 ranked Penn State into Morgantown. I like this West Virginia team. They bring back a ton of production on both sides of the ball. A team that I believe won 9 games last year when they won their bowl game. Definitely saved Coach Neil Brown's job last season. And I think they really could be a dark horse sleeper contender within the Big 12 conference. So maybe West VA can pull the upset. We'll have to wait and see. My next dog, my large dog of week 1, let's call them my Labrador, South Dakota State. That's right, Brad, this is for you. The mighty Jackrabbits of South Dakota State from the FCS level, the reigning, I believe, 2-time champions from the Missouri Valley. Never want to sleep on the Valley, folks. I'm telling you, in the FCS level, they traveled to number 17 Oklahoma State, only being a 10-point underdog. Now, that might sound like a lot, but an FCS team on the road at a ranked opponent and only being a 10-point dog, that is actually very close. That's more like if this was a Division I FBS team, this matchup, this would maybe be a 2.5 point spread. That's it. So really kind of a toss-up to where Oklahoma State would just be favored because they're at home. But the Jackrabbits, they know how to win. They have a winning culture, a winning identity. So don't be surprised if the mighty Jackrabbits can head down to Stillwater inside Boone Pickens, take down Pistol Pete and Oklahoma State. We'll have to wait and see. And just to let you guys know, by the way, a little factoid here, a little departure, but hey, I'm a historian. I am of all things college football. The last loss that South Dakota State had was September of 2002. So 2 seasons they have basically run the table. And that loss, that last loss by South Dakota State came to our Iowa Hawkeyes, that barn burner of the opener that year. 7-3 they lost against Iowa inside Kinnick Stadium. So a little bit of side trivia there. And finally, my big dog of week 1. Let's call this my Great Dane. Hawaii hosts UCLA, who is now in the Big Ten Conference. How weird is that? So the boys from Westwood traveled to the islands. Hawaii did play last week in week 0. They do have 1 game under their belt, which they did pull off a victory. But the Warriors find themselves a 14-point underdog at home. You never know. I think this UCLA team is really going to struggle their first year in the Big Ten, and even especially under first-year coach Deshaun Watson, who has 0.0 experience being a head coach, to quote the great Dean Wormer from Animal House. So I would not be surprised if Hawaii can pull this gargantuan upset. We'll have to wait and see, but you got to stay up late for this one, all right, being out there in the Hawaiian Islands. So that, folks, is my ultimate underdogs for week 1. And like I said, I will be picking one of them to pull the upset, but you got to stay tuned. Let it finish up. Let it play. That's right. Go underdogs. Who doesn't love a good underdog? All right. All right. So now let's go ahead and move into my next section today. And yeah, as you can tell, I'm having a lot of fun with this. And thank you for all you do. Please like, share, subscribe, comment below. Can't wait to hear from you. Let's just keep it adult-like, okay? So my next section today before my picks is my week 1 trap games. And I am so honored to welcome him back. It's been a long off season. He's here. He's primed up. He's in full effect. He's ready to roll. I've got my co-host with me. All right, so week 1, these are the what, Admiral Akbar?
It's a trap.
Thank you very much, Admiral. So these are my week 1 trap games. I'm going to put 3 teams on notice to potentially be trapped because they're looking ahead to week 2 matchups. First, UTEP, the Miners of Texas El Paso, traveled to Nebraska, into Lincoln, into Memorial Stadium. Big game, the first start for true freshman Dylan Raiola, the future of Nebraska. Nebraska is heavily favored. I do expect them to get it done, but maybe they're thinking about their big week 2 matchup when they host Coach Prime, Deion Sanders, and the mighty Buffaloes come to Lincoln. So maybe they'll be thinking about that big matchup in week 2 and maybe take the Miners just a little bit lightly. We'll have to wait and see what plays out there. So I'm telling you, Nebraska, you're breaking in a brand new quarterback. Don't be looking ahead or else this could end up being.
It's a trap.
There we go. Absolutely. Thank you, Admiral. Where would I be without you? My next trap game for week 1, Fresno State, the Bulldogs from the Mountain West, with one of my favorite mascots, Victor E. Bulldog. They traveled to the defending national champions, number 9, Michigan. Now, Michigan, I am putting them on trap alert because this Fresno State team, they know how to win. They are always a major player within the Mountain West Conference, and they have that tradition, that know-how of how to compete and win, going all the way back to former Coach Pat Hill and his motto, his mantra of, we'll play anybody, anywhere, anytime. I love it. And number 9, Michigan, I think they will, no matter what, be looking a little bit ahead to next week's big, huge matchup, the non-conference game of the year, where Michigan hosts number 4 Texas in the Big House. And they do have some quarterback issues that need to be answered up there in Michigan. So I'm putting Michigan right now absolutely on. What alert, Admiral?
It's a trap.
Thank you, Admiral. So Michigan, be wary. You are on notice. And finally, big game. And I wish I could watch this one, but I can't. It's on ESPN+. SIU, that is right, the mighty Salukis of SIU Carbondale from the FCS, from the powerful Missouri Valley Conference. And by the way, SIU is ranked within the top 10, number 9 in the nation in the FCS polls. Shout out to all my Salukis. I taught several years at SIU Carbondale as a professor, and to my boy Brett. But SIU travels to BYU, who is now in their BYU. That's right, their second year in the Big 12. And I'm telling you, BYU might be on trap alert. SIU knows how to play. I believe 2 seasons ago, they went up to Evanston and knocked off Northwestern in their home opener. And next week, they're at SMU. So BYU has a big road contest next week. They're thinking about the Mustangs, who are now in the ACC. How weird is that? So maybe BYU is looking ahead, going to take the Salukis lightly up there in Provo. So, BYU, you know what I'm doing. Don't let this end up being a...
It's a trap.
Thank you, Admiral Akbar. They don't call him the best color man in the whole business now, do they? Thank you, Admiral. Love you. Shout out to you. And that, guys, is my trap games for week 1. So those 3 teams, you're definitely on trap alert. Do not take your opponent lightly because of what's on the near horizon. All right, so here we go. The section that all of you have been waiting for, my week 1 picks and predictions. And if this is your first time with me, let me break this down as far as how this works. And you can find the corresponding weeks. The episode will always be posted on Thursday mornings. So tune in to see who I like for the upcoming week. Each week I pick a baker's dozen, 13 games that I select, and I do spread the love among the conferences, both Power 4 and some Group of 5 matchups. And my goal, what it is, at the end of this season, I want to be 75% or better. And I just pick straight up winner and loser. I don't do the spread. That's a little bit too in-depth for me. I mean, this is supposed to be a hobby. This is not a job for me. I've got a full-time gig, two children, so that's another full-time gig, as all you fathers out there know and all you parents. So that's what I'm looking to have at the end of the season, and I will keep track weeks 1 through 14. This will be at the end of the regular season. Now, within those 13 games, each and every week, I will have 4 specialty games. I will always select one matchup that has a academy team. An academy team, excuse me. It's still kind of early in the morning. I've only had 1 cup of coffee. So my Armed Forces game of the week, which will always have a service, whether it be Army, Navy, or Air Force, it will always include one of those 3 teams from the academies as my salute to America. Second, I will always have my Group of 5 matchup of the week, I believe, which will be the best matchup from the non-Power 4 ranks. So definitely always look for that each and every week. And to pay respect to my boys, the Iowa Hawkeyes, each and every week that they play, I will always pick the winner of the Iowa matchup. And then lastly is my featured game of the week, my spotlight game of the week, and that'll be the very last game that I pick, what I believe will be the most important game of the week. When all the smoke and dust settles at the end of the year, this game is going to go greatly into conference championship berths and then leading into the expanded 12-team playoff berths. All right? So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive straight on in there. So let's start off. Now remember, I did tell you with the 4 ultimate underdogs that I shared with you a little bit ago, I will be selecting one of those games and selecting one of those ultimate underdogs to win. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. First up, number 8 Penn State travels to Morgantown to take on the Mountaineers of West Virginia. They've got a ton back to the Mountaineers. Penn State, they do have a new offensive coordinator. Will that correlate to actually having a vertical passing attack down the field? Drew Aller, their stud quarterback, definitely a guy can play. He had, I think, a 20-2 ratio last season, touchdowns to interceptions, but they just didn't have any explosive plays on offense whatsoever. Will that be fixed? I'm going to say no. This is my upset special of week 1, and I think it's going to be the most intriguing game of the weekend. I like West Virginia to pull the upset. It's the big noon game at 11 o'clock Central Time. I think the crowd ends up being happy. They all sing Country Roads, Take Me Home, drive home safely. Much joy in Morgantown. The celebration's on. Down goes Penn State. Give me the Mountaineers. Next game up, Virginia Tech of the ACC travels to Vanderbilt of the SEC down in Nashville. Virginia Tech, definitely is a team that is rising. Coach Pry has those boys getting better and better. Vanderbilt, under year 3, I believe this will be, under Coach Clark Lee. Unfortunately, they're still Vanderbilt. Have no fear. Baseball season will be here very soon. Give me Virginia Tech because they're playing Vanderbilt. I'm taking the Hokies on this one. Next one, another huge game, week 1. Number 19, Miami. The U, are they officially back? They're in the rankings. High expectations down there in Coral Gables. They travel to their in-state rival, Florida, taking on the Gators in the Swamp. Coach Billy Napier sits on the hottest of all seats in college football from a coaching perspective. What do I see in this game taking place? I think this is going to be a very close game. I think Florida will come out very inspired, motivated. Can Graham Mertz get it under control? I think not. Going back to all the times that I saw him at Wisconsin as an Iowa fan, I like Miami. And I'm very bullish on Miami this season. I did pick them to get to the college football playoff. I think they will be the runner-up in the ACC, but they will win the ACC regular season championship. So give me the Hurricanes of the U. They're getting it done. I'm taking Miami on the road. Next, one of these sneaky games. Next game up, the Ohio Bobcats of the Mid-America Conference travel to Syracuse to take on the Orange inside the Dome. And I think last time I checked, this was a 17-point spread. Syracuse is favored by 17. If I was a betting man, game by game, I would take Ohio. This is an Ohio team that I believe won 9 or 10 games last season. The majority of their team is back. Yes, their quarterback left in the offseason. He transferred to Indiana. But I think Ohio will keep it close. But I just don't see any way that Syracuse loses this game at home. Give me the Orange in a very close contest. I'm saying 10 points, but give me Syracuse in this matchup. Next, big-time matchup within the non-power non-power 4 or group of 5. I'll just say group of 5 ranks. So Boise State, and it's Boise is how they pronounce it up there in Idaho. Boise State, the Broncos travel to the Georgia Southern Eagles. We've got Mountain West versus the Sun Belt, the old Fun Belt Conference. A lot of people are very high on Boise State. I am as well, but not quite as high. A lot of people have picked Boise State to represent the group of 5 in the college football playoff. I myself picked Memphis to take that honor. I think this is going to be a great early season challenge for Boise State on the road. I just think they're going to find a way to get it done. I like the Broncos away from the Smurf turf to get it done, but I think a very close game. I mean, Georgia Southern plays very upbeat, and I believe they're coached by former USC head coach Clay Helton, I believe. If I'm wrong, please comment. You know, I make mistakes. I do my own stunts here on the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog. I don't do any edits, any retakes, reshoots. You know, I don't do any dress rehearsals. I just click, record, and send it. That's it. Because if I did all that, it'd be a job. This is a hobby. And thank you for everything you do. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. So I'm taking the Broncos in that matchup. Next, UNLV, one of the surprise teams last season under former Missouri coach Barry Odom. The Running Rebels travel to Houston. The Cougars, under a new head coach from Tulane. Houston has really struggled as of late. Gone, as I mentioned, exactly is Coach Dana Holgorsen. Yeah, Dana being a man, like Blair being a man too. I get it. Dana, I understand. I totally get it. I mean, I've heard that myself too. Where's this Blair girl? And I'm sure he's heard, where's this Dana girl at? Our new coach, right? Houston, I think they're just going to be a little bit too strong. They have the depth. They have the physicality. I think they will wear down the running Rebels. I do like the Cougars to pull away late, so give me Houston in this matchup. Next game, one of the games that absolutely is must-see TV. It just missed out on being my spotlight game of the week. Number 7 Notre Dame travels to number 20 Texas A&M. What a matchup. A top 20 matchup. Notre Dame actually is the road underdog, even though they are top 10 ranked. Can't wait to watch this game. There is so much at stake for both teams, but absolutely more for Notre Dame. If you've looked at their schedule, folks, it is, I don't want to say it's toilet paper Charmin soft, but it's still pretty soft. And this is the game that they cannot afford to lose. Because normally if Notre Dame would go 10-2, they would be in the playoff discussion. But I think this season, if they have 2 losses or more, they will not get a berth. They will not receive an invite because that schedule is so weak. So much on the line for Notre Dame. And it's Coach Mike Elko's coaching debut down there at A&M. He returns back, formerly was their defensive coordinator back in the day. So many storylines. Riley Leonard, last year, who was the quarterback for Mike Elko at Duke, transferred to Notre Dame. That right there, the coaches, I'm a coach. Basketball and softball, I know my players, just like Mike Elko knows his former quarterback, Riley Leonard. I like A&M. Is it a upset? Yes, via the rankings, but like I said, via the points, it is not. But I just think Notre Dame is going to be snake bit going into the home of the 12th man. I like A&M to pull the upset in this game, and that'll really then make Notre Dame's margin for error pencil thin, guys. All right, next game up. Wyoming, the Cowboys from the Mountain West. They leave Laramie. They take their talents on the road to Arizona State, the old Sun Devils, who are now in the Big 12. Wow, I'm telling you, there's been a lot of change in the offseason with expansion and conference realignment. So can the Cowboys pull the upset in the desert? This is really a conundrum for me. Because if you've watched college football like I have, I've been a fan since I was 8 years old. Here I am today, 43 years old. I'm a man. I'm 40, right? That there's 2 teams that always have a legitimate home field. When you go to Laramie to take on the Cowboys, which is the highest elevation field in the nation, or anytime you go down to the desert to play against either the Sun Devils or the Wildcats, strange things happen in the desert. This is a tough game for me to pick, but I just think Arizona State will get it done. Old Sparky, one of the coolest mascots in the entire nation. And what do they say? They're going to fork Wyoming, fork you, fork them. I'm taking Arizona State over the Cowboys. Next matchup. Wow, what a fun, excellent game to watch. It's a Sunday night tilt out in Sin City, out in Las Vegas. Number 23 USC of the Big Ten. USC hooks up with number 13 LSU from the SEC. I'm really high on LSU. I've got them in the college football playoff this season. What can USC do? This is really a tale of 2 teams who had the same issues last year. Offenses, excellent. Defenses, non-existent. Who addressed that in the offseason? I think LSU did. I like LSU to take care of the mighty Trojans. And I think it's going to end up being a very impressive win in the non-conference for LSU. I think USC will have a solid, decent year, 9-3, 8-4. But I think this will be a good victory for their playoff resume for the Tigers. And I really do miss old Coach Ed Ogeron. Coach O, go Tigers. So there we go. I'm taking LSU in that matchup. Moving on. Now it's time for my 4 specialty games of week 1. Let's start off with my Academy game of the week. It starts off Bucknell from the FCS. They take on Navy. I believe in Annapolis, the midshipmen. How can you go against Navy and the triple option? Give me Navy because, once again, I salute America, the veterans, present and past, men and the women. I'm taking Navy each and every day, twice on Sunday. Give me Navy in this matchup. All right, now it comes down to my group of 5 matchup of the week. Nevada, who last week almost pulled the monumental upset of SMU from the ACC out there in Reno. Nevada in that game was a 28-point underdog, lost by 1 score, but they did lead the majority of the game. I actually believe they led until halfway through the 4th quarter. Nevada that close to pulling a huge upset. They travel down to Alabama to take on the men of Troy. Troy, very good ball team, good club, won 10 games last year. They know how to get it done. I think Nevada comes up a little bit short, but I had to give them a little bit of love and a shout out. Much love, Nevada, for last week coming this close. A little Sammy Sosa style love, actually. There we go. Nevada comes up short. I like Troy in this matchup to get it done from the Sun Belt. Another great matchup there of Mountain West versus Sun Belt. I love when the group of 5 teams match up. I love that. All right, next game is my Hawkeye pick of the week. Iowa opens up at home. Illinois State from the FCS and the Missouri Valley. Once again, don't sleep on the Valley. Illinois State comes to Kinnick to take on number 25 Iowa. No Kirk Ferentz this game. He's on suspension for transfer portal issues, recruiting and contacting Cade McNamara. Also, wide receiver coach Bud Meyer, who seems to be the one who reached out to Cade McNamara, also is suspended. But is that a really big loss? When's the last time we saw Iowa's wide receiver core really make a difference? It's okay. Iowa has some issues, some unanswered questions at quarterback. Who is the better option moving forward? Cade McNamara, who will get the start, or Northwestern transfer Brendan Sullivan? I think after this game, those questions will still remain up in the air. I think they will remain unanswered, but I do like Iowa big to get it done. The physicality, the strength, the depth will be too much for the mighty Redbirds from Bloomington Normal. Not really a juggernaut from the FCS. So give me the black and gold. Give me Iowa in this game with little to no hesitation. Now, everybody, we come to my spotlight game of the week. Week 1's spotlight game. Let me get a quick swig of coffee here. Salute! All right, there's some, what do they call that? Dead air time in the radio. Which you can tell, once upon a time, I wanted to be a radio broadcaster. I wanted to be a DJ or a sports talk guy. As you can tell, I have a face for radio. Hey, no one's perfect. So, my spotlight game of week 1, down in Atlanta at a neutral site. Number 14 Clemson takes on number 1 Georgia. Exactly. Georgia playing in Atlanta at a neutral site. Okay. So Clemson and Georgia hook up, top 14 matchup. Who is Clemson? The ACC, I think, is a little bit down, but Clemson does return a ton of production, especially on the offensive side of the ball, along the O-line. Quarterback Cade Klubnik. Will he take the next step in his progression? This will be a great measuring stick against the unanimous number 1 team, preseason team in the nation, the Georgia Bulldogs. Carson Beck, who I believe will be one of my 4 Heisman Trophy finalists. They open up in Atlanta, and there's a lot to prove in this game. Is Georgia everything that they are advertised to be? And can Clemson basically just punch through? Can they find a weakness? And can they go ahead and expose that kink in Georgia's armor? Because Clemson, this is a huge year for them. I do not have Clemson getting to the college football playoff, but from what we saw from Florida State last week over in Dublin, Ireland, I don't know. I mean, the ACC is totally up for grabs, but they're still a top 20 program. There's no doubt about it. But I just think Georgia, when I look at this matchup on paper, what returns, what the teams have added, where they've been, how they're projecting, where they're going, I just like Georgia. It's hard for me to pick Clemson. I would be all about this upset of the number one team. I just don't see it happening. I would welcome it, of course, because we all love an underdog and an upset. But I like Georgia in this game pretty heavily. I think it's going to end up being a 20-point game. I think they will. Maybe Clemson will get a garbage score to make it closer, or maybe the opposite. Georgia might get a garbage score late in the game with the backups in to extend it to a 20-point victory. So I think it will be close for a half, but give me the Georgia Bulldogs overall. All right, fans. That's it. That's my week 1 picks and predictions. Thank you for all that you do for the channel. Please get involved. Exercise your college football voice. I want to hear from you. That is your right. Comment below. Subscribe. Click that notification button to know when my next episode gets posted. And like, share, comment. Please, let's keep momentum on the side of the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog. And I really appreciate your time, your attention. I may or may not have an instant reaction episode Sunday morning, Saturday night, potentially, in response to the Illinois State-Iowa game. Just depends on how I feel. Might be necessary, may not, but be on the lookout for that. So once again, to get that notification, click that subscribe button. Thank you for all you do. Enjoy the football. It is back. Hallelujah. A gift from above. Enjoy the games. Enjoy your Labor Day holiday weekend. Be safe. For those of you who are traveling via the roads or the skies, safe travels. My wife and the kids are on the road this weekend. I'm staying behind. I've got a lot of work to do. So please travel safe. Enjoy your weekend. Hallelujah. Give thanks and praise. College football is back. And I'll see you. I should be back on Tuesday for my week 1 review episode to let you know how everything went down in week 1. So be on the lookout for that. So until then, enjoy yourself. Have fun. Be safe. Go Hawks. See you next week on the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog. Adios.